Oh, like really live.
Like for real life.
For real, live with Jewel.
That's right. We are just talking about, how some of us do better um, uh, before we get together. And that's what I was saying. Although you are, um, let's see, uh, in the industry, you seem to do better. Um, just going off the top of your head instead of you know coming up with topics or what have you. Because, like I was saying, when we have conversation and with anybody, really, that's the thing. We just get to talking. We don't have to be fake. We don't have to be scripted. We can just talk what's freely on our mind. So that's the thing about going live. But for me, I just try to be careful because we're dealing with, people with sensitive situations. But when we are trying to uh, uh, talk to people who are really trying to do their best, who are really trying to help people, we want to make sure that we put the information out there. We don't have to sugarcoat anything, but what people need to hear is the real conversation. They need to hear that there's people out here who really do care, and people that really um, getting phone calls, all kinds of stuff going on. But you see, that's what happens. So yeah, that's why I say if there's something I said, then we just need to go ahead and say it. Because for me right now, there shouldn't be anybody sugarcoating anything. What should happen right now is that people have difficult conversations. It's important to have these um, difficult conversations so we can just get to the real nitty gritty. You know, that's what it's all about. But you had said something that you were saying you were trying to get me to open up about. Um, but that's what it's all about. We have to learn how to be able to speak and not get offended because we're saying something that is not uh, popular or hip, even though we may be talking about stuff that's trending. Like, what are people really, trending about instead of helping the community, helping people? That's what I'm about. I'd rather trend about stuff to bring awareness for people to implement into their everyday life. That's what I like.
That's what I like about you too. You're just like a superwoman.
Well, I try to not be a superwoman, but I try to include everyone because that's where we are right now. We're in a time where people need to be included. People need to talk about what it is that's going on in their everyday life and how they deal with it, because the way you deal with something is totally different than the way I deal with something. I can be going through a lot, but in this day and age, people need to be able to vent, to be themselves.
Hmm. Yeah. I think it's just a great learning opportunity to be, in your presence and have you teach me how to be better and how to help others, that are suffering. And sometimes I just want to listen. Sometimes I don't want to talk. Sometimes I just want to hear you talk. I'm just like, just let Jules talk. I'm just listening.
Well, it's because I'm just being real. I'm not trying to put on a facade. I'm not trying to, I don't care. Of course, everybody wants to do well on their platform, but I don't care if I have thousands of followers. What I care about is helping people. And so, if it's meant for me to help, 10 people, word of mouth is how you get to me in the business and the industry that I'm in. It's word of mouth because they understand. Um, that you've got to have, it's a technique. You see, everybody isn't out here trying to flaunt themselves. They're trying to implement their techniques to make people stronger. Because at the end of the day, there's people out here that are declining every day, and all they see is entertainment. I'm not trying to entertain people. I'm trying to help solve problems. I'm trying to help people to be their best selves. We've got a lot of people out here that are struggling. And where are the platforms where people are literally helping? And if you don't have, you know, 10 to 20 to 100,000 people subscribe to your channel, you get, like pushed under the rug, kind of. I'm trying to get people that really have an ear to hear and those that really want a solution to a problem. I think
Ear to hear, ear to hear.
ear to hear. If
Uh,
they, because see, everybody doesn't,
ear to hear. This is
yeah,
sorry. Ear to ear to hear.
ear
I
to
love
hear.
your anecdotes. Ear to
An ear to hear. You only need one
hear.
ear to hear
Yeah.
because, some people don't mind listening. And then you have those that have their own opinion. But like they say, an opinion is like what? Everybody has one. So we get that. But then there's some people that really want an alternative to a solution. Everybody doesn't want to just be entertained. So that's the problem I have with these platforms is like, okay, when are we going to start coming together and having real deep topics, you know, topics that are going to help someone to get through their day-to-day issue, their trauma. This is what I'm saying. People are traumatized right now. So when are people going to, have a platform for people to at least address some of their issues?
Speechless. I'm absorbing that. I'm
Well, and
absorbing.
it's
You have to
perfectly
take it in
fine.
sometimes. You have to, some of the things that you say mean so much and they're so dear to my heart. You know, that I mean, you will be remembered. This is kind of, it feels like a little family tradition. you know we have teachers we have educators, and you are amazing. And I just, I one thing we talked about earlier, and I don't want to go off topic, but uh I mean, when you said the house is on fire, I mean, when you talking about sugarcoating it, is the house on fire? I mean, we're talking about like the house, like the White House. Is it on fire right now? I mean, is it burning? Or, I mean, are people ear here? Are they earing to hear? I mean, flip it, reverse it, whatever you want to do. But you said it, that if the house is on fire, trying to keep it clean.
Yeah, because I mean, we're so busy trying to, to blame people and oh, woo, 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 that's not it. Instead of listening, like, let's listen to people. Let's literally listen to people and understand that if we have an issue, we recognize the issue, but we we go, it's a house. So if the issue is in the kitchen, let's deal with the issue in the kitchen. Let's not just run upstairs, downstairs to the bathroom, all over the place. We're talking about an issue that happens to be in the kitchen, which is, like they say, you know, Black Lives Matter. Well, if Black Lives Matter, that's the kitchen. So let's deal with that, and then we can go upstairs to the bathroom, to the living room, to the kitchen. I remember when I was on the website trying to figure out how to funnel down my website. Oh, well, you've got stuff that belongs in the kitchen in your living room. You've got stuff that belongs in your bathroom that's in the bedroom. Well, let's get this analogy straight and understand that the problem is in the kitchen. We are ostracizing, we are profiling, we are excluding um, Black people, but yet we help build this country. So why is it that people are acting like they don't, they're so oblivious? Oh, that can't be the problem. Come on, people. Let's just admit the fact that that is the problem. You don't want to agree with it. I've been Black all my life, but I had to learn to etiquette, where, oh, well, people don't have table manners, so you got to learn etiquette. Well, only white people learn etiquette. That is not true. That's a fallacy. Like everything else, it's a fallacy because people don't want to take the time to listen. And that's what we really need to start doing. We need to take the time to start listening because there's some raw topics out here. People need to understand that you may not like it, but it's factual. It may hurt, it may sting, but it's factual. And then what do? We need to come together to understand that there are ways to implement, you know, decompressing, healing, because I don't care what we're going through right now, people are traumatized. And we need to find a way to fix it. We need to find a way to get in alignment. We need to find a way to shift the way we think. Because sometimes it's not as bad as we think if we just take the time to just talk about it. But why is there separatism? What is that all about when we're in a pandemic? We don't need to be separated. We need to learn how to come together. Nobody wants to learn to come together. It's not in their backyard. Well, guess what? It's starting to uh, filtrate into other people's backyards, and now they don't know how to deal with it. Now they don't. They're traumatized, and they don't have the tools to decompress. So that's my thing. That's my mission, to get on to help people to decompress, mind, body, soul, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. People need to learn to decompress. They need the tools to slow down the process. You know what happened? The world was going so fast, and now they had to sit still. They're spiraling down rapidly. So people need tools to learn how to slow down, get a grip. So that's what my platform is all about. I'm not doing anything that hasn't been done. I'm just putting it on, I'm making it a priority. That's pretty much what I'm doing.
Well, let's not forget I'm a pastor and a minister, so I need time to think about that one. Um, I don't really like to get too religious on these shows, but I've got a lot of sermons to write, and I've got a lot to say, and sometimes I may come on strong, that's because I've been through the dark, I've seen the light, and I've been to the other side. I am literally proof of heaven right here. And I'll just share this with you if you don't mind.
But everybody has a testimony. Everybody has a journey. We get into these labels. At this point, nobody cares about the labels. They only care about how you can help them. What word of encouragement do you have? That's the end results for this particular moment. We are always going to cut it short because there's always excerpts we can do. But what word of encouragement do you have for those who's listening at this moment?
At the moment, I looked up to the sky as God had saved me before many times. And I looked up and He spoke because I too was so stuck and confused. I was going, whoa, slow down, horsey here. I mean, I'm going, what is going on up there, God? I'm like, please help me, help others. And you know what He said to me? He said, you have to save yourself first before you save others. You're always my daughter. Now, my grandfather was a combat engineer. And I'm very proud of who he was and how he brought me up. And he was a Marine. And that was clearly a message from heaven. Um, and I don't care. I have a lot of cultural diversity. I don't like to. Um, I like to be have clean TV, but sometimes us pastors and ministers really have to lay the law down and look at our Bibles. And I have a lot of sermons to write and to put on the air. And I'm trying to keep up on with my schedule. I have to keep my schedule. It's a family tradition that I keep my schedule, and it's very, very hard. Let me just be honest here. It is very hard to choose between being a pastor, minister, and leading a church, and learning how to separate that from being a journalist. And sometimes you have to choose. Well, are you going to be religious? That kind of like the Christian broadcast, whatever. Or are you going to be hard hitting? Are you going to be bold? Are you going to, and I mean, like really like say, hey, stop. Here are scriptures that will help you. A lot of people, um, I don't like to get too overly religious with people because people don't believe. I'd like to give them encouragement because I have died. I have died and I've gone there and I've come back. And people, might stop and argue with me and say, well, no, not like, no, you're wrong. There is proof of God. And um, 95% of the world believe in a higher power. And if God is talking right now, I'm watching and I'm learning and I'm the power of prayer. People don't think that God hears our prayers, but if your prayer is true and genuine and you float that up to God with every ounce of your being, which I have been on my knees praying hand and foot 24 hours a day. I'm like, God, please show me the way, please. And He has. He told me to go to places here and there. And I'm like, I have a schedule to keep. I know I cannot be late. I have to keep up with it. But COVID has slowed me down. And our team is so spread out right now. With Breaking News Journal, I'm her international news correspondent. I have to do the heavy hitting for her. and then
Well, how are you doing with that? Are you able to get out there, or are you what is going on with that part? Because like I said, it's good to be raw, but then we are you being scripted, or how are you doing out there?
well, you know, here's a practice in journalism for anybody out there that's trying to decide to do a podcast or anything like that. There's a learning curve here. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. I love bloopers, things like that. I think there's an indifference here. Trying to be indifferent right now is really hard. I am, as a pastor, a minister, evangelist, whatever you want to call me, it is so hard to see. But I see both sides of this tale. I do. I see the left and I see the right. I see it. I mean, I understand it. Um, but at the same time, it is the most difficult decision in my life. And I have been stressing over it. Like, I'm like, do I get out there? But see, my whole team is scattered. I can't.
But why not just be open and honest? Why do we trust and depend on other people just to be great? I mean, if you have a message, why not just put the message out there? Why are we trying to be so PC correct? Why are we trying to do what's trending? Why can't we just speak on the matter in our own communities so people can see what's really going on? We already get all these other people on TV uh, reporting on what's trending. Where are the reporters at where we don't have to report on what's trending? Why can't we just report on what's really factual and what's really causing problems in our own communities? Because I'm that's where I'm confused.
Boy, you know what? It is, I think it's imperative. I mean, this is just like so twisted. And you know what? I'll tell you one thing. I'll share it with you. Why not? Um, God put me back in alignment. He took me up to heaven so fast, snatched me up. It was like, whoa. I was like, okay, give me a minute here. He snatched me up so my blood pressure was so high. He snatched me up so fast and he goes, I'm going to walk you through it minute by minute, day by day. And he rose me up and it was like a rebirth. Up like for all these people that have, I've got cybersecurity, I got all this stuff, people are hacking me left and right. You know, he just, I broke my back to help these people, to save so many people. But then God took me straight up and he, out of this wounded, muddy water that we're in right now, he took me out of the mud, out of this frustration. He took me straight up and he put me and cradled me in his arms. I mean, he actually held me like a baby, like, you pick a baby up. And I'm trying to write my book for my near death experiences that I've had. And then, anyway, back to the main subject here. So he took me up out of the muddy waters and rebirthed me and baptized me again and made me clean and whole. And that is such an awe inspiring moment. It is so personal, and I told my local pastor, who's fabulous, because what's great about him, I don't even know if I'm allowed to mention his name, but what's great about him is he had this speech and he didn't talk this last Sunday. He didn't talk. He let this other great, fabulous minister I would love to have on our show. He was amazing what he said. And what people go to churches, like in Poland when everything got shut down. The one thing that wasn't shut down were the churches. And you know, I don't believe in, I think we're all on our own spiritual level of learning, and that's fine. Does it matter? It doesn't matter. I could preach this till I'm blue in my face. It doesn't matter who you are, what status you have. If you're vice president or if you're poor and homeless on the street, I mean, Jesus could be sitting, or God could be sitting right at the steps of your door, knocking on your door, knocking on your door, tapping you to say, go, do what I told you to do. And you have to sit back for a moment and you go, did I just hear you right? Because when you're a pastor and you dedicate your life to God, it is amazing.
Well, and then that brings me to this point. Everybody, like I said, one thing I don't like to do is talk about religion and politics on the platform because I'm all about health and wellness. I'm all about healing. But one thing I will say is having a personal relationship with God is two different things. Because some people, like my mom would say, are so religious they're no earthly good. They can't even see what's going on in their community because they are judgmental. So that's why I say when we talk about raw topics, we go left instead of trying to go to the right. We want to talk about what's really going on. It's nice to say, well, I've accepted Christ since I was 11 years old, but I'm not going to get out here and let people see. I want them to see my work. I don't want them to see, well, the title and the fact that I've done this, that, and the third. I want people to see my work. So moving forward, it's good to have um, an experience. But my thing is, we're dealing with people that can't even get to that level right now. We've got people that are hurting. People don't even know where they're going to get their next meal from. But then, here, like you said in Poland, the churches didn't close. Well, then the United States, the churches have closed. But then you've got people that can only give food and clothing. That's not what people need. And I say this all the time: quit telling people what they need and ask the people, what do they need? How can we help? How can we be of service? But you've got all these people that are saying, oh, we only help with food and we only help with clothes, to the point where now there's no food left. People don't know where to go. And even if they did have access, or could, they had food, half the people can't even get there to get the food. So what are you guys doing? Are you passing out food? Are you going to the known locations that are needing food, needing help? I mean, do we have people that just sit in church because that's what they've been doing? Or do we really understand there comes a time where people need to get out of the pews and literally get out on the streets and help people, help direct them, help find places for them to live until we get through this pandemic? What are people really doing? That's what I want to know.
Well, I can tell you what I used to do. Is one of the local churches here had a homeless. They have great in the community. They give back, and I donated my time there, and I fed the homeless. And I cooked. I served. I didn't cook, but I served. I participated. Um, I tried to help people get back up on their feet. I tried to inspire them. And it was, you know, it was quite, it was really hard. There was one Thanksgiving, and I mean, the people there that run the place are just Oh my God, they do so much and they work so hard. They have a thrift shop and they they're this it's just yeah, that's what I did. Is I went and I found a church that was safe, that really gave back to the community. And one of the best things I've learned, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention this or not, but one of the best things I learned was this great organization that put on this event for homeless veterans. And I was like, wow, because I'm a vet, I'm I'm a military child, and so when they put that together, and then they had the news, and they fed them, they gave them hope, they gave them tickets, little vouchers to get to the event, to get to there. So when you ask, how are you going to get somebody somewhere? Well, you give them a little token. You give them a free bus ticket, or if I dare may say, Uber, like, or excuse me, well, humor. You give them a voucher. You give them
Uh-huh.
a voucher. You give them a ticket, a free ticket to get to the event. Make sure you get there, round trip, safely there and back. If not, get a bus. But at this,
Okay.
yeah, at this event, I mean, medical care workers, legal aid, free legal aid to get all these homeless veterans off the street. And boy, was they gave me, I'm so proud that they gave me all of these military items because of my grandfather. All of these military items that I treasure, and a lot of the items that they gave me um, would help veterans on the street. It's leftover military gear that gets thrown away, it gets passed up, right? So,
Okay.
yeah, and so some of them are like Arctic gear. And so I paused for a moment when I think about like the homeless in Chicago when it's freezing, and I'm thinking about all this Arctic gear that the military has that they're not using, that they're giving. All you have to do, and I've been giving these gifts away to so many people, these free gifts. The free gift is that I went there, I was inspired, and so I've been trying to tell people, hey, go call this organization, have them set it up. You get a church. You have to have a church pastor, church. It, and you go there, and then you get the news there. You get the doctors there. You get the dentist there. You have all these vendors there. All these vendors have certain steps to help elevate everybody that are homeless veterans who have given up their lives to help save and serve our country. And I saw that and I was like, wow. So, anyway, am I allowed to even say who this great nonprofit is that does this? Am I allowed to?
Well, I
I don't
probably
want
not at this
to podcast.
time, but
I don't want to
but the
say
thing about it is, again, Desta, we
who.
talk about raw topics and then you get on to something, and I'm not, that's the thing. We need to be able to um like help certain people, because if they're not able to come on and speak on their behalf, I probably shouldn't and go, put them on blast like that, because we are live. And I just basically wanted to just have a raw conversation as to, you know, raw topics as to how do we help people and what do we need to do to get out here. And like I said, there's content after content after content of of uh, of being entertained. But where are the topics where we can literally help someone and encourage someone? That's what I'm trying to, that's my main objective. So excuse me, like today, I'm just trying to get people to see that there's more to following. You know, we've been following, you just said yourself, you've got to be able to meet these guidelines. There's people in this world that they don't meet the guidelines right now. You see, so we have to be different. We have to, which is why I say we have to be atypical of the average, because everybody's following these guidelines and following these different things. But many, we're in a different time. You know, we're in a time where we cannot just keep following the same guidelines. They keep saying, "Oh, well, if it's not broken, then don't try to fix it." Well, the system is broken, and we keep following these same guidelines. For there's hundreds of people out here that are suffering. That's my question: what are we going to do to help the people, and put aside some of the stuff that's not even functioning? Now, what you were talking about, they're probably in your area, but I'm talking about worldwide. They can't possibly help people worldwide. They can help if there's a place for somebody to help you, or to help people. But you said that's what you used to do. Let's talk about, like, within the last 48 hours, what can people do? There are people out here that are feeding the homeless and the working poor, but there's a lot of people that's just talking about it. But where's the solutions? I want to know, where are the solutions?
Well, we have to watch it. I'm watching, I'm monitoring my situation, and I, to be honest with you, sometimes I don't feel like it's safe to go out there. I am um, empowering myself by being very careful who I talk to, who I speak with. I'm staying away from people until I know it's safe to go out there, because
Yeah.
a couple of my colleagues have gotten COVID, and I don't want to get COVID. So when I hear that they've gotten it and affected our network, I'm like, I'm going to stand back, and
Well,
I'm going
yeah,
to
rightfully
look. I'm
so.
going to watch. I'm going to look and I'm going to watch. I'm not a tower or anything, but I you have to pay attention. You can't let your guard down here, and that's what's so serious about this. Is you can't, not right now. You can't. Um,
Well, that's for sure.
you
And that's the thing too. I don't want to always talk about COVID, because there's a time and place for it. You know, that's another thing. It seems like when you and I come together, that seems to be the topic. And it's clear that there's still answers that people have, and such as yourself, because we can start out on a topic and know what we're going to talk about, and we always end up coming back to COVID. Uh, like I said, there's a matter of opinion.
Mhm.
And see, the problem I have with this whole thing is my platform is about health and wellness. But we can talk about COVID until we're green. But the fact of the matter is, we all need to understand that at the end of the day, you have to suppress it. And the way to suppress it is to literally do the social platforms, stay away from people, keep your hands clean. Like I showed you the video before, when we talked about, um, we literally talked about, why people are going for the vaccine, and why there are people that are opting out of the vaccine. I showed you the literature, I showed you the footage. So we are on a different platform talking about reality, and we're back to COVID. So, what I'm going to do is just say once again, to stay safe. It's anybody's choice to decide to get it or not to get it. I showed you the video about the inflammation around the heart, which is why some people opted out and some people opted to do so. So maybe we can do another video and bring the receipts this time so that you can move forward, because this is serious business. Every topic should not be about COVID. When people are really traumatized, then if that's the case, we need to um, come up with a solution to decompress and to help people um, to not make it the one and only topic of the world. We have many topics to talk about, and yes, it's unfortunate that here we are 2 years later and still haven't gotten the numbers down, because it has gone to a place we were hoping not to be. But if people would just stay in, only do what they need to do, and decide for yourself. If you have to go, that's understandable. But I'm almost tired of talking about it, because it's really at the point where either you get it or you don't. Either we can bring more information on the platform to help people to make a conscious decision which way to go. But really and truly, there are so many other topics to talk about. So, again, with that being said, I can see that um, we really need to just get back on point, and not just put any old thing out there, but talk to people about what it's like to decompress. Why would you not? There's so many different variables to the equation. We can give them more than one way of looking at it, and that's what's important right now. So, with that being said, we've got to go. We got to get ready for the podcast. And I just wanted to come on here thinking we were just going to be transparent, thinking we were just going to just talk
Mm.
without feeling like it's scripted or promoting anyone. We really want to just get out here and just have raw topics. I don't want to have to keep mentioning, but the reason for my platform is to literally help those who fail to thrive, to give them a solution, and answer their questions. Because we always seem to do that. We talk about one thing and we get off topic, and we talk about something that's not even about what we were going to talk about. I don't understand that, but that's the way it is. But let's get ready for the podcast. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll get some more people on here so that maybe we can stay on topic, and just talk about raw topics, not about promoting those, but to encourage those that really have an ear to hear. They have to have an ear to hear, because you never know what you're going to get on this channel. But we are getting acclimated, and hopefully you'll get comfortable doing these, and let's just stay on task. But again, thanks a lot. I'm going to disconnect so that I can get ready for the podcast. Okay. All right. Thanks for coming on. Have a good one.
Thank you.